Welcome to this channel. This channel is for education and culture based on historical and scientific evidence. So in the past few days, I have been sharing a few videos on that. Today's Wing Chun, actually, it is dead end. If today's Wing Chun do not reform, then it is the end of it. Now, so I've been sharing like yesterday this video, okay, in details, presenting what is the problem there, okay, in technical. However, there are still many friends who do not think that Wing Chun is at its dying end. And they think that if they fix this, then Wing Chun today is okay. So let's look at these ideas which they think. So they think that Wing Chun 4 sets do not have technical problem. It is just that one need to fix this. Then Wing Chun have no problem. So it is said that people think they can fight, but all the person does is the set and leader like Chi Sao twice a week. One cannot go to class twice a week to compete with someone trained hard for 5 or 6 days per week. So number one is saying that, well, Wing Chunner need to train more, right? You just simply cannot do light Chi Sao training and sets and expect that you can fight with people who train more. Now, the second is saying that glove contact sparring and hard grappling without chaos and pressure of serious sparring and grappling, one cannot expect to hold up with heavy strike and takedown coming your way. So this means that you need to spar if you practice Wing Chun. So the third is saying that footwork, without jumping rope, running, agility training, and again sparring, one cannot handle someone who does all those things. Just meaning that you need to have your agile sprinting training, those kind of stuff, and or your footwork. Now, the fourth is saying that strength and conditioning. One cannot last in a fight if one is not used to getting hit, throw, grapple, or throwing a lot of strike under pressure. This again get into strength and conditioning with the term, a very common term in Wing Chun today, say they were under pressure training. Now, so some people, and actually many people, think if you do this, then today's Wing Chun is 100%, it is no problem. Well, let me share with you what is this problem. The problem is this will never solve Wing Chun problem. This is not the problem I present for past few weeks and for past few years. This is not what it is, okay? And this actually point into a serious education problem in Wing Chun, a really serious education problem. So that's why today I want to share this with you. Education is very important. It is not about my opinion, your opinion, I think it's so, my grandmaster, all this thing. If you look at this, this is talking about train more, need to do the sparring, grappling, need to have footwork training, jumping rope, and strength conditioning. Well, you need to do all those training, but you know what? It doesn't say what type of training for a specific art. Another word, it doesn't say what do you need to train in Wing Chun. Well, Wing Chun is not Western boxing. Wing Chun is not BJJ. So all of this is very general. Anybody who train in the Western boxing to apply this too, right? You cannot just train twice a week to go fight with those who train 5-6 days, if applied to boxing. But what is that differentiate between the Western boxing and the Wing Chun? Same thing here. Glove contact sparring and hard grappling. While you have judo, which is a glove contact sparring and hard grappling. Okay, hard grappling. You have wrestling. You have BJJ. You have jiu-jitsu. You have the Chinese Mongolian wrestling. So this is a very general statement without looking at the technology. Now I'm going to illustrate this to you one by one today so you know the details. And of course, those who do not want to listen to what I'm saying and not want to comprehend what I'm saying will never know what I'm talking about. Because in the first point, they already blind up themselves. So what is the problem of this? Just take an example. Then you understand what I'm trying to say. Say you have two groups of people prepare for a war. Two groups of people prepare for a war. One group of people have rifles, cannon. Another group of people have the spear and arrow. Okay, so there are two groups. One have spear and arrow, one have the rifle and cannon. Now, can one ignore the technology, the effectiveness of the technology? Spear, arrow versus cannon and rifle, and just saying that, let's go train more. Let's go spar more. Let's more fighting more. And we will beat the opponent. Can we say that? Well, very obviously, if you have only the technology of spear and arrow, you're going to fight, spar more, fighting more with your footwork, with whatever. You still limit bounded under your spear and arrow technology. Guess what your opponent have? They have rifles, they have cannon. In the battlefield, you can train as much as you want, but the guy who have the advanced technology will wipe you clean. Well, that happened in China. So in the late 1800s, early 1900s, in the boxer labyrinth of the China, just watch this video. This is very good. The Chinese, a part of the Chinese, thinking if they have the sword and spear and they train their magic qi, they can defeat the Westerners, rifles and cannon. So what? Did they train hard? Did they go train sparring and all those really hard and everything? Sure, they do. But what is the result? What is the result? The result is, at the same time, the Chinese, the idiotic emperors of Qing dynasty waged war with 8 countries, including Japan, including America, thinking that those guys who with a spear and arrow and sword and their magic be able to resist bullet can find the technology. What is the outcome? As in the video, the outcome is this army from the 8th country march into Beijing, and the emperors have to flee, and then later have to pay a lot of money. While United States of America actually give back a big part of the money to build university in China. Why university? Because people at that time, even though they are American missionary and so forth, they know their heart is to help people. So they built university. Okay, you can read this in the history. Now, the same thing applies in the Wing Chun. What is your technology? This thing is just a very superficial, generalized stuff. What is the technology? So as over here in this video, I shared the technology stuff, but still many people don't understand. So I'm going to go deeper today to show with you what it is. So like this, right? There's the set practice and a little light chi sao per week and so forth, all these things. You know what screw up Wing Chun? You know what screw Wing Chun up big time? Movie. Movie, and which is made up stories, which is not what the Chinese, the real Wing Chun of 1850 is about at all. Zero about that thing. Today, you go to a movie, you say what? Wing Chun is from Buddhist art, is from Shaolin. Shaolin is what? Shaolin is, you have this Jishim, the monk Jishim, and then somebody even talk about this Bodhidharma, the Zen, and then the Mui, okay, all this Buddhist, right? And so in the movie, you can see this. Animosity, Wing Chun used this as a slogan. Animosity, hatred. Well, this movie, the prodigal son, people took this as the Bible of Wing Chun. And it is spread to the world, and everybody say, yeah, Wing Chun is the animosity, hatred. You know what? That is the biggest misleading. Shaolin art, Wing Chun, never is animosity. I show you evidence. This is the writing of Shaolin Sword Strike, the mother of Wing Chun. It said clearly here, 无仇为良. Okay? 无仇为良 means that you must not have hatred in your heart or animosity in your heart. When you practice martial art, of course, you don't want to get emotional. In one count is you need to get into the stillness or samadhi. It's a Buddhist art. If your mind is not still, you are not going to see anything clearly. Okay? Now, let me share with you where things become a joke. Okay, so for those our Western friends who don't know about the Chinese language, you see this language, this character, this Chou character, Chou. Okay, this Chou. Now you see here. This is the same character, right? It tells us specifically that you must not have that in your heart. Now, let me illustrate for you. Chou is hatred. Hatred is emotional. Emotional is bad thing. When you want to fight or you want to train Qigong or you want to get enlightenment in Samadhi, the Buddhists have put the animosity or hatred into under the poison, the three poison. Hatred is one of it. You must get out from that poison. Okay? Now, how is one going to use the poison which can screw up your mind, that you blind you, as the key of Wing Chun? There's people have no idea what it is and make it left and right, put in the movie, the entire world have this so that everybody fight everybody. Yeah, animosity, you fight your own brother, you kill, you screw your own entire Wing Chun by that animosity. You hate everybody. That's a wrong teaching. The Buddha didn't say that, but Buddha said no. The Shaolin said no, in black and white. Okay, I just share with you. Now, many will argue with me, well, that doesn't mean anything. Well, what do you mean? Are you a real Buddhist? Do you study all this real Chinese stuff? What do you going to say on things which you don't know? I track this thing. I spend my many decades check this thing. And one thing today I want to share with you. You know what is Nim Tao? Like Xiu Nim Tao, little idea. In fact, in the past 150 years since the set was created until today, zero people understand what is Nim Tao. They just use the term, or the Chinese term, blah, blah, blah. You know what is Nim Tao? Nim Tao, a Chinese term, a Buddhist term, is not mind power. Nim Tao consists of three things. This is a really deep into consciousness and awareness. Nim Tao, the first mean the thought. A Nim Tao, one Nim Tao, one Nim Tao. I don't want to use the term idea. One Nim Tao or one Nim Tao consists of a thought inside there, an emotion inside there, with that come with that thought, and a sensations of the body with their thoughts. So when the Buddhists talk about Nim Tao, it talk about the thought, the sensations of that thought, and it talk about the emotion come with that thought. You look at today, oh, Nim Tao, oh, mind power. Do you follow the ancient? Or you create your own stuff and throwing around to the world? In the past 140 years, 150 years, is like that. So we cannot blame people, but we need to straighten this out. Why? All this mess come up with after the Chinese lost the Opium War. And then the 1850s, Wing Chun ancestor with the Hong Sing Choi Fat go uprising, but they lost too. So like the people who do not get killed in that uprising, they go to Southeast Asia, they go to San Francisco, to Japan. In like people who start the San Francisco's Chinese Freemasons organization. Those are the anti-Qing. So they fled here. Now, those who stay in the China, guess what they become? They become westernized. They become westernized. So like the general who fought the Wing Chun ancestor in the 1850 in the Red Boat, he westernized too. His kid is later become like the ambassador of in Britain, studying the Western thing. Okay, and like the snake crane Wing Chun's the snake crane Wing Chun's secret notes riders, his boss in the Manchurian or the Qing government, he come to over here, and he even have an island in Sweden, in Swiss. So that's how westernized it is. Now, with all this westernized stuff, people have no idea what the Chinese do. So it back to this. You want to make a war, you have no idea what is your opponent do. You have no idea what is your own culture do. Like this boxer librarian. Even in 1560, when the General Qi Ji Guang fought the Japanese pirate, the Qi Ji Guang already have cannon. How come all these people still believe in their power, magic power? That means they have no idea what the heck is going on with the Chinese. And they have no idea what is the Western people do. So that lead to this kind of stuff. And now it spread to the world. The entire world think that way. In the one sense, you wear a robe from the monk, act like a Buddhist monk, act like in the movie, but you are talking completely opposite for what the teaching of Buddha and the reality in the Shaolin and the reality of ancient Wing Chun. So educational problem. The same thing in the same movie, which is the Bible. Over here, it said that he must avoid the other side's attack, then occupy the opponent's position. He must avoid the other side attack and then occupy the opponent's position. This is completely wrong. In the real life, it is this. One second. I messed up this thing. Sorry. Okay. The real thing is this. Dodge to avoid the very strong incoming attack. Swore and shift to attack the opponent opening. It got nothing to do with. It got nothing, zero to do with. You must avoid the other side attack, then occupy the other opponent's position. This is called movie. The real thing is he attack, you go in. He attack, you go in. So if you read this, writing it says dodge to avoid the very strong incoming attack, soar and shift to attack the opponent's opening in the same time. Okay, it's not then. Spinning to attack while using hard position to track the target. Hard position to track the target. The hard position always face the opponent while dodging and turning. Isn't that is what today people say in Wing Chun, fist issue from hard? That's what it is. So what it is, it means you always guard it with this, tracking your opponent. He attack you, you dodge, angle in. You don't actually try to avoid anything. You never doing those kind of things. Why? Why don't you want to avoid anything, but you want to dodge away? It's a very different thing. With this avoid and then, that is mean you lost timing. You always is under the control of your opponent. What you want is he come in, you come in. And if you look at today's martial art, let's just recall of what martial art, the real deal is always like that. There's no such thing as you punch me, I do a bong sao, avoid it, and then come in. Forget about it. Okay, and the ancient Chinese, the ancient Wing Chun and ancient Shaolin, I just share it with you. This is how it should do. You come in, you dodge, you go in with your heart is actually in the center targeting him. Black and white. So don't argue with me. Say, oh yeah, I know the classic, the writing mean nothing. Do you learn? Do you know what is Chinese? Do you know what is the real thing, the instruction written down there? Okay. Now you look at, say, our friend in BJJ. Look at this. You punch, you get in. Who is going to avoid it? No, people dodge and get in. That is the art of jiu-jitsu. Okay. Now, it's dodge in. If you try to avoid and wait, you lost one timing. Now, you're speaking of the footwork. Footwork, okay? The footwork of fighting. You need to know what is footwork. It's not just footwork walking. Just using the same BJJ's example. That is the footwork. You see how he changed? Is the entire thing is momentum is really fast. This is just showing for instruction. So we can see clearly what it is. So how is Wing Chun? Well, this is Wing Chun. You go in, you attack with the hand, with the body, with the leg, with the body, with the hand. Look at it again. Attack the leg, body, and then the arm attack. That is Wing Chun, 1850. Okay, so Jiu-Jitsu have their uniqueness. Jiu-Jitsu come in to attack you, dodge in and attack you. Jiu-Jitsu come in and attack you this way. That is how Jiu-Jitsu going to go. Wing Chun 1850 is going to dodge in, strike the leg, body strike in, the hand coming in. That is Wing Chun 1850. So this is technology. This is technology. Okay. If you don't know what is the BJJ do, what is the 1850s Wing Chun or Wing Chun sticking body short strike do, you can have all of this, but you still don't know what you are doing. So as what I say, you need to know, does your opponent have a machine gun or your opponent have a spear? What do you have? Do you have a missile? Or you have an arrow? You need to know this technology instead of say, well, keep practice, practice make better. Well, the guy who use missile will have their strategy of how to use the missile. The guy who have the cannon will have their strategy how to use their cannon based on their technology. Not everything is the same. Or just keep practice. So are you Wing Chun? That's why people laugh at the entire things like Wing Chun. When you fight, how come you fight this way? How come you fight like a Western boxing? How come you fight with like a BJJ? That is the differences of the technology. Okay. Now, so if you want to talk about Wing Chun, you need to have this four hand, the arm, the leg hand, the shoulder, and two arm. As this. It come in, it come in. What you expect BJJ were doing this. Okay? You expect BJJ like that, you expect Wing Chun like that, and this is the Wing Chun characteristic, and this is the footwork. This is the real plum flower footwork. So this real plum flower footwork is like, how do you crush him? This is you, this is your opponent from this range 2, which is the fighting range. This is the fighting range. This is the get-in range. How do you penetrate him? And of course, your leg is going to crush him in, as what I just shared with you. Of course, this is going to come in with, again, your leg, your body, and your arm. How do you changing angle? Well, didn't the BJJ friend doing the same thing too? Didn't our BJJ friend doing that too? Even though they go have their very similarity in moving close, get in, close the distance, but they fight differently from the Wing Chun 1850. That is technology. So if you want to be proficient in the BJJ, you better have this. If you want to proficient with the 1850 Wing Chun, you better have this. You are not just go doing this, talking this, or you have to train this and the chi sao this and set and this. What are you doing? What type of technology are you drilling with? Are you drilling with using a spear or a machine gun? You need to ask, what is that weapon? A machine gun or it is a spear? Okay. Now it is very bad today because everybody take the movie as a Bible, which is talking nonsense. And when you're talking nonsense like that, you think this is true. Sorry, these all are actor. These all are actor. They are they know nothing about Wing Chun. This is a real grandmaster from Garcia family. This is a real thing. And this is all record from the real thing. How the real plum flower footwork is. How you get in. And how the 360 degree. So people sometimes say, oh, you're drawing, it doesn't mean anything. Sorry, go learn how to read Chinese. All of this describe how this momentum need to be handling. At the ancient, there is no video like this. Gracia family do a good job on showing what is the basic of BJJ. But they write it down. They write it down. Okay, and like just now I share with you. It tell you right away. No hatred, no animosity. You have to keep cool, keep calm. And this is the plum flower. This is the triangle. You call it footwork. Well, how can you have any footwork if you cannot do this? You don't even know that Wing Chun is doing it this way. How can you know that what type of footwork is that? Footwork is just a general name, a very vague name. Well, this is BJJ's footwork. So these have footwork, these have footwork, but they are different stuff. Even the name called common name say footwork. they have different agenda on their attack. It's like one having a machine gun, another have an arrow, or not one guy have a spear and another have a samurai sword. They have all different. So if you lump everything together and you talk this way, you can go keep sparring for 1,000 years. You go nowhere. Why? Because if you keep doing this kind of stuff or avoid him, come, you just go tan bong sao, and then you come in. You face our BJJ friend, you drop that. Because nobody is going to do avoid you. They're going to shoot in with the angle. You meet a Shaolin sock strike guy, the same thing. Not to mention all this kind of thing is a hand by hand. Who have this distance for you anyway? People get in. And people not only playing this, the two hand, people have four hand. So as I said yesterday, even BJJ have four hand. The leg, the body, and the two arm. You want to play that close, you expect your opponent have forearm. Now, if you don't have the forearm, you're thinking this way when your butt going backward and then you have this. That's called movie, okay? How is that supposed to work at all? And if you want to talk about this, strength and conditioning, okay, and then sparring with all this jump rope and so forth. Let me share with you something. In order to do this home footwork, fighting this way, fighting in the Wing Chun way, like this, okay? I don't invent this. This is what it is written down. There are much more information than people think, as what I just now said. The Chinese documentary is there. It's just people don't read it because they go westernized. And then they make this movie, and then the entire world thinking as what they think they think. They are not even a Buddhist. They don't know what does that mean. They just interpret whatever they want. And then they call that Wing Chun. In the reality, is it easy to do this? Even just this. Is that easy? No. It's like the BJJ. You need to have a lot of details. So what details? You need to have the multi-directional strength. Why? At this close, at this close, you need to have a multi-directional strength, meaning that your strength is not just a direct line, it's just strength, because people is going to hug you, depend on your opponent, is going to grappling with you, or is going to go back and so forth, and or going to strike you. So there is no straight line, linear. The closest of the 2 point is a single straight line. It is all the multi-directional strength. Or else you use a straight line, you face a BJJ friend, you drop that. You don't even know how to use that strength because they practice with that every day. So you come back with this. Come back with this. It's not just footwork or strength conditioning. You need to know what are you doing. Again, it's like you need to know, are you practicing your sword or are you practicing how to use a bazooka? They are different stuff. They're using it differently. You need to have the recycling momentum. Why? When you do this, who is going to say that they're going to stand there and let you do it? Who can guarantee they don't go in and they turn If you don't have recycling momentum, you drop that. Again, linear, you dead because people turn. See how they turn? Look at it. They turn. How are you going to exert the second punch? So do you know how to recycling momentum? Have you trained that? Do you have you developed that? Have you developed the multi-directional strength? Or else, what are you doing? Practice more sparring, lifting more weight, jumping rope. What are you doing? What is that contribute to? What is your set contribute to? Okay, now, this is Wing Chun. That's why it's all in my book already. In the book already. I wrote it down there, so in case I die, people still be able to check it out. Okay, this is from the ancient Chinese writing. That's called shoot in and fill in. Shoot in and fill in are uniqueness of sticking body short strike martial art. A shoot in is a dash into opponent's opening. A fill in is to fill up space between oneself and opponent with one's leg and body and arm to rob and occupy opponent's position, space, center of gravity, and center axis, while at the same time one could use at edge, the feet, the ankle, the knee, the hip, shoulder, arm and wrist, and head to carry out attack. Fill in makes it difficult for opponent to strike back on the spot. When you're going down to the ground, didn't our friend in BJJ do that too? They occupy your space. This is short strike Wing Chun. Standing grappling. But it doesn't grapple. It do different stuff. It shoot you and all kind of stuff. All of this is techniques. Again, leg management. Managing the leg of the opponent is the uniqueness of Shaolin short strike martial art. The short strike martial art classical record the following: contract and then shoot in while leaning. Attack the opponent with your strong point is an effective way. How could the opponent defend against both the lower part of the body being attacked by legs management and upper part of body being attacked by the hand technique simultaneously? So it means that it attack the leg in the lower part of the body and the upper part of the body attacked by hand technique simultaneously. Well, don't look at it like this is some kinds of the king of Wing Chun, the in the G-sip. It is just simply that. It is just simply that. You attack him, his leg, attack with the body, attack with your hand. That's what it is. This is what it is. It's just you have to be really proficient. Well, again, this is very different than BJJ. What BJJ is aimed for, focused for when they come in. They are not attacking the leg. We are attacking the leg. To be specific, crush the knee away. Okay. Now I'm saying this. I don't want you to go to fight because as a Buddhist art, remember, no hatred, but compassionate to people. But you need to know what is what. This is the details you need to have. The leg management, the recycling momentum. Okay, momentum recycling is the critical handling of dynamic momentum. Momentum recycling means to be able to reuse, generate momentum. An analogy of momentum recycling is to be able to reuse the forward momentum of a car to make a turn instead of applying brakes to slow down or stop the moving car before making a turn. Brake a car often is clumsy, inefficient, and wasting time in car racing. Well, you need to know this. You need to know the leg management. You need to know shoot in, fill in. You need to know all this and all this. You need to condition your body that way. Only that way you can play with this. Only that way you can play the plum flower. Because when the plum flower get in, it is this distance. In this distance, you don't know if your opponent is this type. You don't know your opponent who come is this type. or your opponent come is this type. You don't know. And don't tell me that, oh, if for the jiu-jitsu, if I allowed to punch him, look at how they break the punch by dodging in. This is called technology. Instead of just keeping argue for, you have no idea on what is technology and keeping argue. It's like you have no idea on, like this Chinese guy have no idea on what is a rifle, what is the cannon, and so forth, and keeping argue. And then say, well, I can fight the army, I can wage war with the 8 of the countries, include the Western country, including the Japanese, at the same time. You get all the cannon and rifle come in, and you expect this thing to fight them? Come on. So learn from history. This 100 years ago already. This is what, to be exact, 120 something years ago already. Are we where are we living? In a movie, this never exists, and in fact it is actually tell you wrong thing. It's going to what is going to screw Wing Chun big time is this kind of thing. It put people in dangerous. If you don't know about this kind of stuff, guarantee when you face somebody who have a real art, like our BJJ friend, you know you cannot handle it. You practically don't have the education, you don't have the training, you don't have the basic. You try to brute force thing, you try to argue, you try to play rude and violence. You can see so many people play violence and brute force with our BJJ friend, the Gracia family, the Gracia's brothers. Does it work? People have technology. There's kung fu. We have to admire people. We have to address that. We have to admire. We have to admit that they have the technology. And at the same time, we have to learn what the heck is the real Chinese have, instead of keeping create nonsense. Okay. Now, if you talk about this, strengthening and condition. Okay, one can last in the fight if one is not used to get hit, throw, grab, or throw those lot of strike under pressure. Okay. One without jump rope, running, agile training, and again sparring, one can handle someone who does all things. Do you know there's a lot of things under that? It's like you cannot look at the world like a black and white. Do you know that between black and white there's what? In today's computer, you have a 64,000 colors. So that's why I wrote the Decoding Wing Chun. Okay. Do you know that in the 1850s Wing Chun sets, 1850s Wing Chun Nim Tao set, not your 4 sets today, it has this component. It has the Qi nourishing training for recovery, fitness for handling your body, to condition your body, and strengthening training for fighting. Do you know there are 3 categories of this thing? Now, mapping in today's prop science, the strengthening, there are 2 levels of training and strengthening. Level 1 strengthening training is for cardiorespiratory endurance, muscular strength, and bone strengthening. This level of training is equivalent to lactic threshold level type of training. A difference between well and less well trained athlete is their ability to compete at high percents of their VO2 max. Now we take the ancient Wing Chun. We talk with today's sport science. Okay. The second level of training, second level strengthening training is extreme training, which challenge the limits of body. At this level of training, wind breathing patterns are manipulative rather than natural, because performance is the goal rather than fitness. So at the level 2 of strength and training, it is going to damage your body because your performance is the bottom line, not natural. While in the level 1, at this level of strength and training, the wind breathing is coarser than the normal common breathing. This type of wind breathing is a heavy or forceful type of common breathing. This is still natural, deep natural breathing. This is no longer deep natural breathing. This is the second type of the breathing. So if you want to talk about strengthening training over here in the Nim Tao 1850, you better know this. And so I make it in today's sport science. You want to deny that? You look at those top sport trainers. Is that like this? Hey, Chinese or non-Chinese, it doesn't matter. We are all human. Everything can be mapped into the science, sport science. Okay, this is the strengthening training and the details of how many types of that, how you handle your VO2 max and so forth. And is this for performance or is it for your body strengthening? You need to know that. And then the abdominal bracing. Okay, in general, abdominal bracing is to strengthen a person's core, protect the person's back from injury, and give a person more core stability. There are two types of abdominal bracing in Wing Chun 1850. Okay, now like this, the forward breathing bracing. And there's a reverse breathing bracing, which is forward breathing bracing is done by tightening all the muscle around the abdominal exhale. Well, this is just a sample of it. So you want to go further, like breathing in fighting, okay? The reality of fighting can be modeled into two zones. The danger zone is the area where two fighters are close enough to be hit, while the out of range zone is the area where both fighters are out of range. Danger zone. In danger zone, fighting is not natural activity. Fighting doesn't have natural rhythm of running. Fighting is rhythm disrupting game. Fighters on both sides are deliberately trying to break the opponent's momentum and rhythm. Therefore, it's necessary to keep breathing in the case of the other party's intentional interference. In general, breathing fast in the danger zone. In the out of range zone, the breathing can be more relaxed. Well, do you know that? And do you know that this danger zone is associated with this? The danger zone is actually associated with this range. This is out of range zone, this is danger zone. And this is the footwork. This is how it played at close. You see how the entire system linked together? Well, for the strengthening, you look at in this, the strengthening training. This is the heart rate zone training, mapped into the heart rate zone training. This is zone 4, zone 5. Well, you expect that in a fight, you are in the zone 4, zone 5. Well, can you do it? So this is zone 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, here, this person can do 6.4 minutes in the zone 5. And it can do 8 minutes in the zone 4, meaning that it can do 6 minutes. 6 minutes in the full accelerate. How long is one round? 3 minutes. And this person can do 6 minutes. That means he's prepared for at least one round of fight. And then you can do 8 minutes in this accelerated impulse momentum handling. What if you don't have this? How are you going to go fight? It is clearly have a mark, a quantify, as a quantify mark. And how to train this? Well, you get back to this. You get back to this. The strengthening training, it get back to this. 1850s Wing Chun. You have the way how they train, how you're supposed to train, and what it is. And it needs to build out from the recovery, the training here. Now, today's sports science is really good. Over here, very advanced. But today's sports science is not as good as here. This is where the real Qigong come in, the recovery part. The internal organ, like the 6 healing sounds. Can you test that with the sign? Sure. What? Again, there's all kinds of breath handling, which is in the ancient. Now you can explain with science. When a person hold their breath for an extended period of time, oxygen level decrease and carbon dioxide accumulate in the body. Lack of oxygen to the heart can lead to an abnormality of rhythm and affect the pumping action of the heart. Well, when you want to go inside this circle, inside this, when you want to go here, you better know that you train that you're not holding your breath. And how much breath you can you store inside there. So it's everything's linked together. Now, if you're a beginner, where you're not supposed to do the strengthening training. If you're a beginner, you are not supposed to do the strengthening training because you're holding your breath and you can cause all kinds of stuff, including your heart problem and all kinds of stuff. So you need to come here. And that's why you have to do what? You cannot even run. You have to do walking. So as they say that this walking training make beginners familiar with the correct natural lower abs breathing in dynamic. So when their arms are later put high in the guarding position, they still can breathe normally and easily. You have methods, technology to train that. It's not brute force just talking generalization. Like over here, you know, see, I don't blame on people, you know, we all do this if we don't have education, including me. If I don't go investigate in all this ancient classic, go visit seafoods who know this and go map it and verify it with the sport science, I'm going to talk like this too. But it is not what it is. Okay. So like this, the body opening, okay? Open means to let every part of the physical body unwrap itself naturally. The following is the exercise for experience opening up. This is like in the book, Basic Wing Chun Art and Science. Well, if you don't open your body, you end up doing this kind of stuff. Anybody look at that, know that they don't open up their body. And thus, they will have problem in the breathing. It is known, it is all known today. What is the ancient Chinese do? And how the body handling, how the thigh, the hip, the inner thigh, the external thigh, how the entire body coordinate into one piece. How all the hip joint, spine, and shoulder joint works together. So if you don't have this, you don't have this thing, how are you going? Just very simple to face some friend like this. Do you believe that you're standing in like this? Practicing this way? Doing this kind of turning? Practicing in this way? Be able to face our friend? Not talking about who is better fighter. Talking about the basic technology. Where this have 4 hands. Right? The arm, the body, and the 2 hands wrapped around him. So that's how serious it is. Do you know what you have in your hand? Is it a spear? Or is it a machine gun? And if we don't know what we have in our hand, machine gun or spear, we keep talking about, oh, we need to train a lot. We need to train a lot. Even when we sleep, we need to train. Do you know what it is? You want to condition your body? Do you know which level you need to condition? Can you condition it so that you don't screw up your body? Can you go to the strengthening training? So what if you get struck and you injured? You need to go to recovery. That's where the Qigong come in. So in today's world, the Western sports science have its edge. The ancient, the real Chinese Kung Fu have its edge in the handling of the body intra-abdominal pressure and internal organs. That's a reality. So I go this details with you. Now, putting back, I'm doing this really strictly, but I'm not blaming anybody. I'm just saying that open our eyes. If you don't open the eyes, you will end up be like the Chinese boxer librarian in the late 1800s. You can get wiped out completely. But in today's people, especially in Wing Chun, everybody is grandmaster. Do we know what is the ancient ancestor really teach? Do you know how is our opponent, like a Western boxer or the BJJ already developed? And of course, this is 1560. This is the model of the fighting. So don't keep telling me, oh yeah, MMA is better, Wing Chun is not better. This is 1560. I wrote a book to describe everything in English. This is what it is. It is not even your techniques. There's no techniques here. It's a dynamic playing of momentum game with distance, angle, and level change. Techniques is just a byproduct that you created. So momentum is the bottom line, it's not techniques. And at 1570, you already have this. The long fist category, the short strike category, the ground fighting category, but it's not today's BJJ type of fighting. This is a ground kick fighting type. So it's a different. So this one have its uniqueness, the BJJ have its uniqueness. Every legit art has the uniqueness. It's like there's a place for bazooka, there's a place for machine gun, there's a place for pistol, and there's a place for dagger. Do you know how to use all of this? And this is for the, in this play, everything goes. So if this is not MMA, what is MMA? Okay, and they talk about the Wing Chun Bong Sao. What is Wing Chun Bong Sao? And don't tell me that, oh yeah, this is just a writing in the clip, it means nothing. Does clearly say what it is. And all these techniques here. How to use the bong sao. How dodge and shoot in right away from the distance, different distance and angle and level is written here. Okay. So there are no such thing as you punch me, I do a bong, and then I come back. No, it get in right away. So 470 years ago and today, there's no difference. This is what I like to share with you. And what I'm saying is that I cannot make those who don't want to see, but those who really care for Wing Chun, care for yourself, we better open the eyes and see what the heck's going on with this world. Instead of believe in this movie, this grandmaster story, and all this, this not even Chinese. It's just a made up in past 100 years. And the people who made up don't even know what the heck is going on. So like all this Buddhist stuff and everything. It is a really convenient to say that, oh, I am a Buddhist. This is according to the Buddha's teaching, and so forth, so forth. It is always convenient to say that, but does it really that a person who have those kind of training, who really know what is it? The issue is, it is baseless. And my conclusion today is, if we don't open up our eyes, history of that Boxer rebellion in China in late 1800s, where the army of the 8th country marched into Beijing. The emperors had to flee, made up as a peasants and flee away from Beijing, run away. That's going to happen. Okay? So I'm saying here, of course, somebody will say, well, Henry, you might be nasty and everything. Look, today we have a lot of informations. That's why I just showed you very partial in this video. With today's informations, nobody can get out of being scrutinized and in details point out that which grandmaster know what or don't know what. Okay? But have you seen I attack any grandmaster by name, or I defend the grandmaster? I'm interested to put the technical up front, because the proper Chinese Kung Fu, the proper Wing Chun deserve to be treated fairly, to present in the world. And the young people of the Wing Chun deserve to know what is the truth, so they are not misled. It's like you keeping training the set like today, and then you met a BJJ friend, and you always lost. Can you avoid that? Can you avoid that? Of course. You ought to know that even before the contact, you know that you don't have enough technology there to develop to train you. And thus, this is not a battle you can fight. Just admit it. I don't have the technology. I don't have nuclear bomb. I cannot fight with you. Period. See, for me, in this channel, I'm a Buddhist. I do not like anybody who watch my video and using my information to go there for violence. The reason I say all this thing and tell you all this thing is so that you know what is in the world. But the bottom line is, this is for education, so that we become rational, and we can see, hey, this is not what we can do. So don't fight it. We can accept it. And if other people like BJJ is better than us in in technology in a certain way, and meet it, praise people. Of course, they spend a lot of blood and sweat to get to that point. We need to be able to admit it. We need be able to praise people. And on the other hand, look back to us. What are we doing? If we couldn't even think, we cannot praise people. Have this hatred in their heart, like I'm number one, and then argue with nonsense. You expect this the end of the road. Historic. So this is what I like to share with you. Don't take it lightly. It is unfortunately, today's world is like that. The Chinese culture is almost gone. So we need to watch out for each other. Not stepping into woo-woo nonsense fantasy, and then you're going to screw your own people.